Kadosh Boker Or Masechet Nazir Daf Aleph Amud Aleph 21a1 says the Gemara. Tanya Mihachi, we also learned it in a Braita that only if you say va'ani toch kede dibur, which means only if you say an I within the 2-3 seconds and you say toch kede dibur, then it's going to become a Nazir. Misha Amar Hareni Nazir v'shema chaver v'shah kede dibur, and he waited the kede dibur, and then he said va'ani hu asur. The one that said ani Nazir is asur. V'chavero mutar, but the friend is going to be mutar. V'kama kede dibur. How much is kede dibur? Kede she'elat shalom talmid l'rav. In order for a student to say Shalom Alecha Rabbi. Okay, fine. Says the Gemara, let's say that this is going to be a proof to the words of Resh Lakish. Misha Amar Harini Nazir v'shema chavero v'amar va'ani. Va'ani, meaning one person says Harini Nazir. His friend says va'ani. And the other friend says va'ani. Vetulo. He didn't say anyone else. Because if it would have been so many more, it would have been too long. Meaning by the time the next one said va'ani, it would have been too long, right? That between the first one that he says Hareni Nazir and the third one. So says the Gemara, no. Tana kiruch lalich shevelizil. What, you want the Tana is going to make it like a rochel, like a peddler that continues going and going and going? Like, what is this? You understand? Like, you know what? You think everyone's just going to say va'ani, 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 va'ani? So says the Gemara, v'litzne chad v'lishmini nahani. So why don't we just say one va'ani, and then that's it? So says the Gemara, Achiram, you're right. Mishum tani seifa, since the seifa said utar and rishon utru kulan, the first one permits his nazir, everybody else is permitted. Utara acharon acharon mutar. If you permitted the last one's permitted. So therefore he says v'kulan asurim mikad dika and say. So there has to be a middle one. Mishumachi ktani, and therefore we learned va'ani va'ani, meaning there had to be 3 people. You remember there was a person says Hareni Nazir va'ani. The second person says va'ani. Says the Gemara, if I'm the first person, I do a tarat nedarim on the neder. On the Nazirut, everybody else is permitted. They're not Nazirim. If the last one does Nazirut and he does Hatarat Nedarim after he said Vani, he's permitted. But we still are Nazirim. So says the Gemara, the fact that you said Acharon, so there has to be an Imtsai. So that's why there have to be 3 people. There have to be the first person, which is the one that says Vani Nazir, and then the other 2 people. Vani, Vani. Ibailahu, so we're going to ask the following question. Chad bechavre mitpis, or dilma bekama mitpisi. Do you say that the last one, each one is nitpas on his friend, or is he nitpas on the first one? So, for example, I say Hareni Nazir. Yeah, you say va'ani, and then you say va'ani. The last va'ani, is he nitpas on you, or is he nitpas on me? That's the question. Meaning each one is nitpas on the previous one, or they're nitpas on the first original one. So says the Gemara, "My nafka mina, what do I care?" So he says, "Litpuse, what's the difference? Latpuse umezal." To continue going. If you're going to go, the one is going on his friend, so you continue going. But if you're going to tell me that it's only going to be on the last one, you can't do it. So for example, I say Hareni Nazir, you say Va'ani, and then he says Va'ani. That Va'ani is going on you or going on me? So yes, what's the difference? Very simple. If it's going on you, we start a new count of Toch Kede Dibur. If you're starting on me, I'm the Toch Kede Dibur. So if it comes, let's say, the third guy already, it's already after Toch Kede Dibur. It's not going to be Chal. But if it's going on you, and each one starts a new timer of Toch Kede Dibur, so it's always going to be Chal. That's the Gemara is asking. So we have the question, Mai, what's halacha? Tashema, we're going to try to bring a proof on Hareni Nazir. If somebody comes and he says Hareni Nazir, the friend hears it, and then he says Va'ani, Va'ani, and then the other friend says Va'ani. We didn't bring any other cases. Meaning we only brought down the first original Hareni Nazir, and then the next one Va'ani, and the next one Va'ani. So 2 cases of Va'ani. Shema mina. So we learn from here that it goes after the first guy. Just continue saying Va'ani, 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 Va'ani another 20 times. You could have Va'ani. So says the Gemara, no, you can't come and bring that down. Why? Because we're not rochli. We didn't have 20 va'anis. So says the Gemara, okay, fine. So just teach one, and then we know the halacha. So he says, no, adi diktani, the same answer that we wrote down before. Since we saw utara dishon utru kulan, utara acharon mutar v'kulan asurin, mikad dika imtzai. So there has to be a middle guy. So mishumach tani vani vani. So therefore, you cannot bring a proof from the Mishnah. Okay? Another trying to bring a proof. Tashema. Mutar Rishon utru kulan. We said that if it's going to be mutar Rishon, it's going to be mutar kulan. Harishon udeshab. Only the first one is going to be permitted. Ha'emtzai, lo, but not the middle one. So Shema Mina, we learn from here, kama matpisan. What does that mean? We just said that if the first one was permitted, everybody is going to be permitted afterwards. So he says only if you permit the first one, but not the middle one. So you see from here, everyone's going after the first one. If you're going to say that the middle one is another concept, right? And then even if the first one was permitted, what does that care? No, you see, everybody's going back on the first original guy. So he says, Elmaleh says the Gemara, no, maybe I could say really be'emet, everyone is going on the last guy. But since we said utru kulan, the Tani Mimtzai is if we would have taught the middle one, the first one is not going to be permitted. So Mishum Hachik Tani Rishon, that's what we learned, the first one. So therefore, again, we are doche. We still don't have an answer. So Tashima, we're going to try to bring down another proof. Hutara Acharon, we said if the last one was permitted, Ha'acharon mutar v'kulan asurim. The last one is going to be permitted, everything else is going to be asur. Delo ika charina batre, because there's nothing afterwards. Aval emtzai, but the middle guy, dika charina, that there is somebody after him, he should be permitted. Shemamina chavechavre matpis. So this is a proof that one of them is going to be after another one, not on the original guy. It's one after another. Each guy in the middle, right? Every single person in the middle is going to have somebody in the middle. So it says the Gemara, really, I'm going to tell you be'emet that we're going in the first guy. So what is the acharon? The emtzai, the middle guy. Now that we just taught Rishon, so Tana acharon, even though the kavanah was le'emtzai. So again, we still don't have a proof. So the last proof, Tashema, the Tani Miheda, we learned to Mefurash. Futar Rishon utru kulan. If the first one was permitted, everybody's permitted. But if it's the last one, only the last one is permitted, everybody else is asur. Utara emtzai. Here it's written Mefurash. If the middle one was permitted, Hemenu ulmata mutar. From then onwards, it's going to be mutar. Hemenu ulmala, but beforehand, it's going to be asur. Shema mina, we learn from here, Chabe chavre matpis. And each one is going to be matpis in his friend and not on the first one. Shema mina. So this is a good proof. Okay, until here. Right? Next part of the Gemara. We're by the two dots, where the two dots says, Hareni Nazir Shama Chavero ve'amar pi kefiv v'se'ari kisaro. So somebody comes and he says that he's a Nazir. His friend listens and he says, my mouth is like his mouth and my hair is like his hair. So says the Gemara, Mishum damar pi kefiv, right? Kefiv, right? Usaro kisari kisaro. Hare Nazir, what? Just because he said my mouth is like his mouth and my hair is like his hair, he's a Nazir? Kafalef Amubet, 22b. Yeah? So he says, Urminhu, we have a contradiction. Yadi Nezira, Viragli Nezira. Right? Somebody says, my hand is a Nezira, or my foot is a Nezira. Lo makrum, it's nothing. Roshi Nezira, Kevedi Nezira. If he said my head or my kaved, it is a Nazir, it is. Zakilal, Davar Sheneshemat Taluyabo, Hare Nazir. Only an Eved, only a limb, where the Neshama is Tsuyabo. Which means if it's just going to be the hand, a person could live without a hand. A person could live without a leg, but he can't live without a head. He can't live without a kaved, right? So therefore, only something which is mamashtoy. So then that's going to be a nazir. So answers the Gemara. Rav Yehuda says of Yehuda, Tamar Hachi says like this: Ye'aseh pi kefiv miyayin. My mouth should be like his mouth with yayin, and my se'ari like se'aro milagos. Right? To do the giza. What is the giza? The shavings. So that's what it means. So fine. Next two dots. Hareni nezira v'shama bala v'amar v'ani enu yechol afer. Imagine a woman says, Hareni nezira. The husband says, v'ani, I'm also. So he cannot be mefer the nezirut anymore. Why? Because if he says v'ani, it means that he was happy with it. What's the proof? He actually committed upon himself also to do nezirut. So says the Gemara, they're going to ask a following question. Ba'al mekar akar or dilma megas guys. We already learned this in the Darim. Does the husband completely approve lemafre'a, the neder, or is it that he cuts it off? And therefore it's not lemafre'a, it's not retroactively, it's only from now onwards. So the my nafkamina, what's a nafkamina? The isha shenadra benazir, a woman that she was nedra benazir, her friend heard, and she says vani. And then the husband comes, and he's mefer the neder. If you're going to tell me that it's mekar lemafre'a, it goes retroactively, So then her friend is also going to be annulled. But if you're going to tell me Mega's guides, right, that it's only cuts it off, she's permitted because of the husband, but the friend is still going to be prohibited. So what's halacha? So Tashema, we're going to try to bring a proof on Enu cannot be mefer. Now Yisak, if you're going to tell me about Mega's guys, he should be able to do a farat nedarim, and then but he himself should be prohibited. You learn from here that the Baal is mekar akar. He completely uproots the neder lemafrea retroactively. That's a proof because he could have broken the neder now, meaning done a farat nedarim now for the wife. The wife would have been permitted, and he would have been prohibited because he cuts it from now on. So rather, it goes to mafreya. So it says the Gemara, no. Leolam Mega's guy is really bemet, he cuts it from now onwards. Ubedinu delefela. Maybe bemet, he could have done hafara nedarim. So why can't he do hafara nedarim? Because once he says ani, it's like he was mekayem it. Remember, once the husband validates the neder, kaddish. If the chacham is going to ask on akama, and he's going to come and he's going to annul it, he could be mefer the neder. If not, he's not going to be annulled. So fine. So we don't know yet. So Tashema, we're going to try to bring another proof from the Mishnah later on. Imagine a woman makes herself a nazira, and then she separates an animal, and afterwards the husband comes and he does a farat nedarim. If the animal belongs to the husband, he should go with all the other. Why? There was no kedusha, and therefore it's chuli. But if it was for her animal, chatat tamut. If we're going to leave it to die on its own, Avisa now you're going to tell me that Baal Mekaraka that he completely uproots the thing, the mafreya, tepuk lechulin, it should go out lechuli. And Allah Shramina. So there's a proof. Baal Mega's guy is a really behemet. The husband cuts it from now onwards. It doesn't go to mafreya, it doesn't go retroactively. Because if not, this animal, even if it's her animal, it should go lechuli. It should go graze like a normal animal. It was nothing. So it says the Gemara, really, I'm going to tell you Baal Mekar Mekar. Really, the husband Mekar Akar, he uproots it, limafreya. And the reasoning is given the lotzricha kapara, since she does not need a kapara, it's like a chatat that the animals die. Let's say a person is obligated a chatat, sin offering. If they bring the chatat, right? They're getting it ready, and then the guy dies. You can't bring it anymore because the guy died. So therefore, chatat shemetu be'alea, you have to, what do you do? Ugumine, we have a malachal Moshe Misinai. Chatat shemetu be'alea tamut. So the same thing here. She doesn't need a kapara anymore. So therefore, it's like a chatat shemetu be'alea. Lo metu be'alea. She's alive. She's chaya v'kayama, right? She's fine. Yeah. But keilu, right? That she's so Tashima. We're going to try to bring another proof then. Hayishat and the Rabbi Nazir. What happens? A woman becomes a nazira, and she's drinking wine and mitametim. She gets lashes. Hechal, what's the case? If the husband did not do a farat nedarim, so obviously she gets lashes. But rather, the husband did do a farat nedarim. He said that now if you're going to tell me that the husband could come and completely uproot the mafreya, why does she get lashes? Am I so get arba'im? But there's a proof. Shebar Mega's guys that he only cuts it off from now onwards. Not the mafreya. So answers the Gemara, no. Really, I'm going to tell you Baal Mekarakar. That really bemet, he uproots it completely. Umishum diktani seifa, and since we learned in the seifa, hefel la baala, that the husband did a farat nedarim, vehi lo yada, and she didn't know. And she was drinking wine and metamel metim. Ena sofeget et arba'im, she's not going to be sofeget et arba'im. Tani namin reisha, so too we learned in the reisha, sofeget et arba'im, which means in order to teach the same thing, davar be'ifucho, even though it's muvan me'elav. It was obviously she's going to get arba'im. She went and she did an avera. We had to teach her. We learned it because since we said in the reisha, we said in the seifa, even though again we were doche the raya and really be'emet, maybe the Baal Mekar. We don't have an answer yet. Obviously tomorrow we're going to continue with this question, but that was the question: is a Baal Mekar, does he uproot el mafreya, or is only Mega's guy? He doesn't cut it off from now? Mikan ulaba. Have a wonderful day.